intentionality. Uh-oh. Wait, Deborah says I'm going in and out. Uh-oh. Stop the presses. Hold on. Let me see. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. Let me change. I'm changing my mic. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. All right. So I'm changing. How does this sound? Let me know if it's still going in and out or if it sounds better. Give me some feedback here. I'm looking. Hey, Tiffany Anderson. Good morning to you. I see better so far. Better so far. Better so. Me. Am I coming through okay? All right, I'm coming through good. I'm coming through good. I'm coming through good. I'm coming through good. All right, perfect. All right, great. So we good. We good. All right, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your support and assistance. All right, so yeah, so here's something I wrote about in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, which you can get a copy of that book at drboycebooks.com. And that 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 one of the things I talk about in the book is the importance of intentionality in Black economic relationships, meaning that when you're talking about what it means for Black people to evolve, Black people to win, Black businesses to succeed, the racial wealth gap to close, things like that. The racial wealth gap is never going to close without the participation of committed Black people, right? You do understand that you are the canary in the mine. You are the one that like so supposed to make it happen, right? I hope you're not waiting on white folks to do it. I hope you're not waiting on them to decide, oh yeah, we want to gladly give away half of our wealth or 50% of our wealth to these Negroes that we've never given anything. We won't even pay them for what we actually owe them, let alone the extra stuff, right? So I hope that you don't think that the racial wealth gap is going to be closed by other people. We've talked about that. And that's really almost like a not even a fantasy. That's beyond fantasy. You're going into the realm of delusion. You're going into the realm of just insanity, just outrageous. Like I need a therapist and medication and brain surgery kind of lunacy to believe that the racial wealth gap will be closed by anybody other than the race that is most adversely affected, right? Can we agree on that? Can we can just start the conversation off with that? All right, so here we go. So basically, oh, somebody says I'm freezing, not the mic, maybe the Wi-Fi. Okay. Am I frozen again? Am I unfrozen? Ah man, I hate when that happens. Yeah, the okay. Can you see me? It's glitchy. Ah, dang on it. Okay, let me see if I can figure something out. Let me give me 1 second, guys. Let me try a second Wi-Fi. There are many ways to solve this problem. So let me try this. My phone has a personal hotspot on it. So give me a second. I might go in and out for 1 second, but be patient. One second. All right. Okay, all right. Well, so I'm gonna try again. I'm trying again. I'm going to another Wi-Fi, so hopefully that'll not mess everything up. Your audio's fine. It's the video. Okay, so the audio's good. Okay, so if the audio's good, then I mean y'all ain't got to look at me like And I guess I could have turned off my video, right? So all right, so I'm gonna use the second Wi-Fi. So let's see how that works. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, so what I wanted to do was really talk about supporting Black-owned businesses and just what that looks like. Basically, when you're talking about us really winning the economic game, first off, we have to acknowledge the fact that we are in the middle of a battle. We're in the middle of an epic competition. We're in the middle of a war, right? And when you're in the middle of a war, you got to be a warrior. And the thing about being a warrior is that fight. And the thing about fighting is that you can't be overly passive. You can never passively win a war. There's no passive group of people that ever won a battle. There's no passive group of people that's ever defended themselves. There's no passive group of people that have ever conquered territory. There's no passive group of people that have ever made significant progress and maintained and defended that, right? So really, this idea of sort of passively waiting for Jesus to come back and fix the racial wealth gap is again another example of just sheer lunacy. And so what I want to talk about specifically is a strategy. And I know that some people are allergic to strategy, they're allergic to planning, they're allergic to facts. They're allergic to accountability. So anybody who has that particular allergy, you might want to step out of the room because you might break out in hives, and I don't and we ain't got time to make no trips to the hospital because it's Labor Day and the hospitals are closed. Okay, so all right, so for those of you who are not allergic to facts, give me a yes in the chat. If you're not allergic to facts, everyone who does not have a fact allergy, say yes in the chat. Everybody who's not allergic to planning, give me a yes. Let me know you're good. I need to make sure everybody's safe. I won't hurt nobody up in here. Everybody who's not allergic to hard work, give me a yes in the chat because it's going to require some work, right? And everyone who does not have a just rampant, I understand the rampant phobia of white people. Give me a yes in the chat. Anybody who's afraid of white people, I understand. I don't want you. I don't want to trigger your anxiety because they white people they scary. They growl sometimes, right? So here we go. All right. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to give you a strategy on how we can really step our game up and why we must do this. Black businesses do not get support that they deserve. Black families do not. When Black people start businesses and institutions, even other Black people question the ability of a Black person to run an institution or to control things or to manage things or to even when I have landlords and they tell me the reaction from other Black people when they find out that the landlord is Black. You ever see that where people are like, wait a minute, I'm man on time, but I'm not paying you on time, you nigga, right? Like, how dare that nigga come ask me for rent money, ask me to pay my bills on time? What's wrong with you? They expecting me to pay because I'm using your apartment. You ain't got no right to ask for my money. I've seen this. You not have you? Has anybody in real estate ever actually said? I have literally seen Black people become landlords and they get a white boy to go collect the rent. They that's a real thing. They do that because they're like my people won't respect me if I come collect the rent. So I got to send the white boy. This is deep, right? So here's the thing. We got to support each other, right? If we want to win this racial wealth gap thing and all that, we're gonna have to change our thinking, change our behavior. And one of the things I want you to do is I want you to understand what it really means to support a Black owned business or to support your relative when they go start a business. A lot of you have family members that are trying to go out here and get it done. A lot of you have relatives that are really out here and trying to be a one-man army, who are fighting the good fight, trying to do something better, trying to change the generational curse, trying to change the world. And I know they exist because I see them every year at the All Black National Convention. I just meet all these people that are doing these amazing things. And one of the biggest challenges is they don't really always feel like they have support. You know what I mean? Like they don't feel like their family really backs them up. They feel like they're more likely to get made fun of than they are to actually get supported. And I personally think that's wrong. I personally think that that's a lesson, a learning point for all of us in terms of what we can actually do to be better and sort of an awareness of our behavior, right? So this is where the accountability piece comes into play. I think we all do this. I've done this before. You ever done that? Tell me, let's just be honest. How many of you have had a time where you saw a friend out there trying to do something different, trying to, put out a book, trying to start a business, and you just kind of watched? You ever do that? You ever catch yourself just watching? Just be one of these looking ass Negroes, just looking. I wonder if it's gonna work, right? like you stay in your lane, LAN, looking ass Negro. That's what you were, right? You were looking ass Negro, and you were just watching. It never occurred to you that you could actually play a role in the outcome of this situation, right? It doesn't. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's real. Like like you're watching a movie, but you don't realize that you could be an actor in this freaking movie. You could be a director, a producer, a writer. You can jump in the screen and save the hero, right? But we don't think that way. I think that we get trained to be very passive. I really do. I think that we train ourselves and each other to just sit back and say, "Oh, he's trying to start a business. How's that going to work?" And you watch, and then they tell you, and they say, "Gosh, it's really hard, and I'm not getting any support, and it's not working out." And a lot of people be like, "Well, I'm gonna pray for you." Well, good luck, bro. Right? Like that's it. Like just literally, like they will wish you good luck. They will tell you that, gosh, I hope it works out for you. They'll ask you how it went. They'll pray for you. They say, when I go to church, I'm gonna pray for you. But the question is, how often do people actually get up and say, "Hold up, wait, I'm jumping up in this thing. I'm 10 toes down with you, so I'm gonna jump in this thing and make it happen." Some of you do that already, and I applaud you. But I think a lot of us maybe because we just don't see ourselves as wealth builders and business owners, we kind of just watch, like on the plantation. Massa's beating one slave, and y'all watching the slave get beat. Like, dang, ooh, I bet that hurt. Instead of like, I mean, you think about this. Like, why didn't all the 200 slaves just jump in and say, "Okay, we can all kill Massa. He got one gun with six bullets, so it's gonna be six of us they're gonna get shot, but the other 195 of us are gonna get to live. So how can one man with a gun with six bullets control 200 people, right? Whatever, right? Just math stuff, right? So here's what I want to give you in terms of a list of ways you can support the businesses of people that you care about, like family members, when they get out here and they try to do things. And don't make yourself a passive observer of the movie. Jump in that damn movie and you decide how to save the hero. Got it? All right, here we go. First two things are obvious. You can financially support, buy something, or become an investor, right? Those are two things you can easily do, right? But then let's say that you don't have any money. Well, here are a few things you can do that don't require any money. Number one, you can volunteer labor if you have any free time. Time is an asset. Time is an asset. Time is wealth. Time is money. Time really is money. It's not just a metaphor. It's really true. That's why your boss pays you by the hour or they pay for your time because they see you got plenty of free time and people get rich off of other people's time. So supporting in terms of labor is a very direct way. Like, hey, cuz you need somebody to man the store for a few hours a week. Sure, no problem. I got you. Right. Also, you can share their posts on social media. When you see this stuff on social media, don't just look at it, like it, share it, put a fire emoji, whatever, right? Just little things like that. Like, hey, great job, or I really like that. Or I took the time to pay attention to what you're doing and I really liked it. That gives them motivation. See, what you got to understand is that a lot of black businesses fail because the founder gets loses motivation. They feel like they're out there by themselves and don't nobody give a damn. Ain't nobody supporting them. They feel tiny. They feel unseen, unheard. Let them know I see you, I hear you, I support you. And don't just do it once. Don't just do it one time and say, hey, yeah, I supported you. No, I'm going to support you all the time, every day. I'm going to ask you how it's going. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to be right there in it with you spiritually because spirituality and energy is a very important part of business. That's connected to consciousness. See, y'all don't understand. Y'all think every morning we're just talking about finances. No, we're really talking about spirituality. This is a spiritual space. This is a consciousness space. Consciousness and spirituality are all connected. I'm conscious and aware of what you're doing. I'm giving you the asset of attention. I know that attention is a financial asset. Why? Because Mark Zuckerberg made $200 billion by getting your attention. He makes about 70 billion every quarter in his company because he can get so many people's attention. So don't you dare tell me that my attention, my energy, my consciousness, my focus on you is not an asset. It's definitely an asset. Your focus on me is an asset. When y'all decide to get up in the morning at 10 a.m. and come in here and listen to some crazy man talk every day about finances or whatever's on his mind, that's an asset. You're investing in me and investing in us and investing in this. And I never forget that. I never forget that. When I see you at the convention, I look at that as a shareholders meeting. These are the people that are running with me on this beat, create this B1 thing, that you're standing 10 toes down in the vision that we have together. You believe in the power of what we can do when we work on this thing. I appreciate you. I love you for that. I mean, without you, I wouldn't have nothing. Look at how many people hate me. Like, believe me, you go around world talking like this, you're gonna get a lot of enemies. I got a lot of black enemies. Ebony Magazine banned me from the publication years ago because of things that I'd said before. I don't know how they feel now, but I know back then they were like, we don't want nothing to do with this guy, right? Because I wasn't going along with whatever they think I'm supposed to be saying, right? So anyway, sharing social media posts, getting more eyes on what they're doing, you're giving the gift of attention. That doesn't just feel good, but it also translates into real economic value. It also creates what they call social proof. When you're sharing things or whatever, then other people say, oh, well, this must be important because people are sharing it and talking about it, right? If you see their product or buy it, leave a review. Like leave a review or a testimonial. You know, I ate these beans and rice, and it was the best beans and rice I ever had. Lord Jesus, I mean, I almost fell out, and then I farted because they were so good, and I just could. It was the most deliciousest beans I ever had. Right, write those posts. Those posts are very important. And that does boost credibility. That makes a difference. So just take the time, a little review. Hey, cuz, I gave you a review, right? Let me know if there's anything else I can do. What else? Uh, refer like everybody has a network. Like, let me ask you this: how many of you have friends? Anybody here got like a friend or two, or maybe you got like more than 8 followers on your Facebook page? Give me a yes if you're in this category, right? So anybody who has friends, give me a yes. If you have friends, then you have a network. And has anybody heard, let me know if you heard this saying, they say your network is your net worth, that type of thing. Well, that is generally true. I mean, it doesn't, it mean, I don't think your network is your total net worth though, right? Because network is part of your net worth because you might actually own some stocks and real estate and stuff like that too. But your network is a big part of your net worth. And that's why I would argue, like whenever we start the Dr. Boyce Watkins School of Black Economics, I'm going to train, not me, I'll find experts that will train people on how to network properly, how to make friends, how to have a wide web of people you can connect to. Why is that important? Well, because there's something in business and economics that's $1 trillion industry called network effects. Network effects are massive. Nvidia is a $4 trillion company. Now, Nvidia, anybody own Nvidia stock, or am I the only one who's like having parties every month? Like, it's all the money that we've been making. We've been making. I get to use the word we when I talk about Nvidia, like I'm really in there making microchips and stuff. So Nvidia stock's been enormous. A lot of money's been made, right? Well, here's the thing. One of the reasons that Nvidia makes so much money isn't just because they can design chips and then they send them to TSMC to get them manufactured and all that. They have tremendous what they call network effects. Like that's one of the things that's cited as the reason why the company maintains so much value. And so network effects pretty much means an ecosystem. It means having relationships, and things that are connected, right? So connecting things in the George C. Fraser sort of way allows you to really get more done. So everybody in here has a network. If you've got friends or you got family, you have social media followers, you have a network. So when you introduce someone's product, their work or whatever to your network, you are adding value to that business. You are an investor in that business. I introduce you to my friends. I can make your life better. I do it all the time. In fact, actually, you're part of my network, right? We're part of each other's network. Would you agree with that? Would you agree that you're part of my network and I'm part of yours? How many of you would agree with that? If the answer is yes, then let me show you an example of a network effect. Okay, so here's I want to show you uh something. I'm gonna show you something. It's kind of a crazy, like racy type. I'm not even gonna leave it up on the screen because but anyway, this is Karma J. Okay. Karma J is a singer who sings like this really amazing, soulful, sultry music. It's really good. It's better than like Rihanna to me, in my opinion. It's really, really good. Anyway, Karma J is she just put her album out and it's up for Grammy consideration. It was, I think, with the Grammys, you got to be nominated to be nominated or something. Like they gotta, like somebody on the committee has to recommend you to be recommended. It's crazy. So anyway, her album was so good that that they literally were like, yeah, it should be up for Grammy consideration. Now the racy picture, that's I guess that's the music you gotta. But anyway, so you got to cover your kids' eyes and stuff on that one. But still, though, Karma J is in our space. You might know her as Tierra KJ Williams, and Tierra is a person I've known for many years, and she's super cool, and she's part of the B1 Nation. And so, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask everyone in here to proactively go to Spotify and look up Karma J and hit the follow button. Right, and I'm gonna tell you, in fact, I'm gonna tell you how it's spelled. It's Kharmajai. Kharma. So don't forget the H and it's Jai. So it has a little bit of a different spelling. And I'm asking everyone in the B1 Nation to go and rock it out on her page to support what she's working on, right? So I put it in here right now. If you go to your Spotify, you can probably do it right now or later. It's Kharmajai. Support that, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all a quick question then. Given that I just now, in front of, every single day when I do this, thousands of people watch every single time we do like our Money in the Morning stuff. Every morning, thousands of you show up. Would you agree with me that I just helped her album become more successful? Would you agree? Would you agree that me investing in her by presenting her to my network elevated her business? Yes or no? Absolutely yes. Right? That is a network effect. Now, sure, my network's a little bit bigger than some, but it's the same idea. When you ideas that you connect to, that you share, that you give your a consciousness and attention to, gain life from that. They become more alive, right? When you breathe life into a business by just paying attention to it, that makes it real, and it's fascinating because it's actually linked to a concept within quantum physics where they talk about things like a lot of you know who know about quantum mechanics and quantum physics would know this. There's like these weird things that happen with quantum realities where things only exist if you observe them, and if you don't observe them, they don't exist. It's a crazy thing. It's like some stuff you got to go smoke a joint or something to really even follow it. It's kind of crazy, but still, it's like that's how life kind of works. If I see you and acknowledge you and pay attention to what you're doing, I'm giving life to what you're doing. I'm making it more real, right? So ultimately, that was something that didn't take me more than 30 seconds to do, or maybe 60 seconds, but it makes a difference, right? So do that for the people that you care about. Pay attention to the people in your family that are trying to start something new, trying to do something different, because I can tell you, it's challenging, it's scary, it's lonely, and what you don't want to be, what we're not going to do is we're not going to stay in our lane. We ain't going to be no looking ass Negroes who are just sitting there watching, LANE, looking ass Negroes. That's my new nickname for y'all. Who consist on doing this for us when we do this. We're not looking ass Negroes. We are participating black people. We are going to jump up in there. I got you. What can I buy something? Can I tell my friends about you? Whatever it is, right? Okay, so here's some other things you can do to support your family and friends when they try to go out and do things. Also, comment, like, and engage on their content. That's a big deal. Offer to introduce them to potential collaborators, partners, or media outlets. So that's another extension of the network effect. When I network you to my friends, I'm not just finding potential customers or potential contractors that can support you. Maybe I'm finding potential investors out there for you, right? By connecting you to other people that I know, and definitely markets, right? When a lot of businesses struggle because they're trying to find customers, they have a great product, they're looking for customers. So introductions to people, right? Groups makes a massive difference. A lot of sororities and fraternities get this, right? Like I noticed when AKAs and Deltas and things like that start a business, the organization will jump up and support the business, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think that's what we're all supposed to do. Um, let's see here. What else? Giving feedback, knowledge and feedback, right? Like, hey, I saw this thing on your book and I wanted you to know that this is a way I think you might want to tighten it up a little bit. Or did you ever think about taking your book and making it into a course? Or, I ate your cupcakes the other day. Did you ever think about selling coffee at your cupcake shop? Because a lot of people who want cupcakes may also want a cup of coffee, and then you can increase your revenue streams, or the number of revenue streams in your business that way, right? So little things like that, sharing your experience, your knowledge, and expertise. This is important because what I think we forget in many cases as Black people is that we are really well trained. We are really well trained. We are really highly educated. Many of us have just been enormous assets to our employers because we come in and we get the degrees, we get the skill, we get the training, and so we become very valuable to those organizations. So I just want you to keep doing what you're doing. Be valuable to yourself, be valuable to each other. Lay out that information that allows you to succeed and support each other. Okay, Teresa says, I'm listening to Karma J and you right now. How are you listening to both? I don't know how you can do that. But anyway, let's keep going. All right, so another thing you can do is that if you have something like a podcast or something, feature them on your content, on your blog, your newsletter, things like that. That makes a difference. And also, here's a big one. If they have a win, celebrate the win publicly. Like make it a point to make a post, to share a post and say, hey, I she won the award. Congratulations, or way to go. They passed $1,000 in sales, or or they got 10,000 followers. That's awesome. Just something to kind of motivate, because one of the things, here's why this is also important too. One of the areas that I've studied quite a lot is financial psychology. And one of the things that was revealed to me about 13 years ago is that African American people have a hard time starting businesses, in large part because there is a fear, a fear of failure, and the fear of failure comes from trauma. It comes from the fact that that you've seen and had so many situations where you've watched other people fail, you've seen other people suffer. So there's sort of like this inherent anxiety that happens, right? When you approach risk. Remember, I studied risk on a scientific level. I studied on a mathematical level, so I have a different kind of relationship with it. Risk is not a good thing and it's not a bad thing. Some people think risk is a bad thing. No, it's not. Risk is a great thing. It's like spicy food. Sometimes or hot water. Sometimes you want a little hot water in your bathtub. You don't want all cold water now, do you? Right? So with risk, what happens is that risk tells you not just that things could go bad, but also that things could go good. Right? One or the other. You don't know. It's randomness. So, what happens to a traumatized person? This is why undiagnosed, untreated trauma is a requirement for you to address that in order for you to be maximally successful. Is that traumatized people view risk in a very different way from untraumatized people. Traumatized people see risk as like, oh my God, this is going to go bad. This horrible thing is going to happen to me again. I'm scared to death. And people who think that way don't tend to want to become entrepreneurs, right? That somehow they've been lured into the lie, into the myth that you're safer and more secure when you're on that job, without remembering that if they decide to cut their DEI program or they decide they want to lay you off, then you're done, right? You're cooked, right? But we forget that until it happens. They create they and there's actually a term for that in finance. They call that jump risk. Jump risk is the risk that you're going to jump randomly from one reality to another because one little decision was made, or one thing changed, or one thing happened. And so you feel like everything's okay, but you don't know that you're constantly being exposed to jump risk. So you've got this job and you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm safe, I don't want to be an entrepreneur, I don't want to go start a business, that's too risky. But then suddenly, bam, Trump's elected, he cuts the government jobs, and then you're jumping to this other reality that you didn't even know was out there. You weren't even aware that this risk was there. And it's like, oh my God, now I'm in hell. I didn't even know that hell was below the floor. Like what's going on here, right? So effectively, this jump risk is big. It's something that you have to be aware of, and I would encourage you to find some way to balance that out. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. What I'm saying is that little basic concepts that we talk about regularly, like diversification of your revenue streams, things like that, really important for you when it comes to your finances. This is not optional, people. This is not something that you just do because you want to go the extra mile. This is not the bonus extra homework at the end of the chapter, the extra stuff that nobody has to know. This is required reading. Damn it. Like this is mandatory in this space. It's mandatory because you need to be safe. These people don't give a damn about you. They will eat your ass for lunch and chew you up and spit you out. Have you seen what capitalism does to people who are not prepared? It's brutal. It's horrible. It's freaking demonic, damn near. Like you live in a country where you can have a guy with $100 billion in the bank, and he's stepping over homeless people on his way to work, homeless children for that. Like it's crazy. You have a terrible society in that way. Not everything's bad, but some of that's bad. Like today's Labor Day, and America shouldn't celebrate Labor Day because y'all don't give a damn about labor. The people that do labor in America, not only have they been disrespected and mistreated in this country, it's only gonna get worse. So preparation is critical. Do you understand? Can we agree on that? Can I get a little yes? I need a little boost. I need y'all to boost my self-esteem for a second, if it's okay. If I see yeses and I feel like I did something good today, can you give me a quick yeah? Thank you very much. I needed that. That helps me. That I was having a rough day this morning, so now I'm feeling good today. All right, great. All right, so let me move on and talk about something. I'm gonna talk about something that I hadn't brought up in a while in detail, but I thought this would be interesting to talk about today. And before I do that, I want to remind you. Tomorrow, tomorrow's Tuesday, yeah, we're doing stock options income, and we're doing something called Prime 101. So if you ever want to be introduced to how to make money selling stock options, You can join us tomorrow. If you want to join the program, the URL is above my head. It's drboyceprime.com. Or also, if you text the word money to the number 87948, you can get a free copy of my training called How to Make Money Without Working. So either way, or you can just go to the website, sign up, and we meet tomorrow. Okay. So feel free to join me. And everything in the Black Business School has a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. So if you're not happy for any reason, you can get all your money back. Like we are not in any way interested in you investing in us unless you feel like we've adequately invested in you. Also, like Chanel, and I didn't know if Amani was here or not, but Chanel is definitely here. I see her right there in our in the chat. And so our support team is top notch because we care deeply about making sure that you walk away saying this was an excellent experience, and I'm much better at what I do. I have more money in my pocket because of what we're doing here, and that's really something that we hold on to, and we believe in that. And so, and if you are in the class and you've had that experience, if you could say something in the chat, say yes or something to let people know that that's your experience, that would really help us a lot too. All right, so let me share something with you. This is something I was talking to D1 about yesterday. So, D1 is the musical artist that I brought into class the other day, and D1 is actually right now. I love this man because what he's doing right now is he's changing hip hop culture, and this is mission critical for all of us who care about our community. This is mission critical for anybody who wants Black people to be safe and in a better position. Because, as you know, I stand on this with everything. Hip hop culture, unfortunately, when it became bastardized and they started making Black people celebrate our own genocide and killing each other, that really affected our people. It really hurt us in a horrible way. And so D1 is out here cleaning up the streets. He's the living personification of, like, he's like a Batman to me. Like, he's out there just fighting crime. Is it, and he really needs us to have his back. I really, I'm gonna have his back. So let me show you just quickly again, because we're doing the network effect thing. I'm not just going to talk about it, I'm going to be about it. And here are his tour cities. His website is d1music.com, D1music.com. And it looks like on the 5th of September, he's going to be in Houston. And then there's Atlanta. I looked at the tour and I said, whoa, that's a lot of cities in a short period of time. But so he's bitten off a lot. But these are all the cities he's going to: DC on 9/11, New York City on the 12th, Boston, Nashville, Dallas, and New Orleans on the 14th, 19th, 25th, and 27th. And I think I'm going to actually show up in New York City. And I think it's New York, and I believe it was either Boston or Nashville that I told him I would go to, because I told him, I said, I really believe in what you're doing. I really want to support what you're doing. So I know New York I'm going to go to. I think I said Dallas because I was like, I need a few days to rest. So that's like a 13-day period. He's going to be going city to city to city, but I said I need like a week to go take a nap or something. So, but I'm going to go and support because what he does, I'm not going to be on stage or nothing, so you won't get to hear me rap. But I'll be he's doing these community sessions where he's going to actually talk about what's going on in the community. Because in case you're not following it, it's very important for us to know about this as Black people. Right now, there's sort of this big thing happening in Atlanta with the rapper Young Thug, who is kind of going through a back and forth about whether or not he's a snitch. And it's leading to a discussion about street politics and street culture. And it's really leading to an important conversation our community needs to have about the fact that we have been held back. Particularly our men have been kept in a state of being almost like infants because we will sit around and argue all day about stupid stuff, right? We'll sit around and talk about the G code and is it, whatever. And the reality is that, we need to talk about the manhood code and the community code and the Black code and what it means for us to really do right by the women and the children in the community, right? So this is really important. And this translates heavily into Black economics. In case you don't know, D1 has done some awesome music about money and finances. He did a song where he rapped about having no car note and how that makes him financially secure. It was a great song. It was really good. You should look it up. It's called No Car Note. He did another one called Sally Mae Back, about paying Sally Mae back. He did another song called I Hate Money, where he talks about why he hated money, but he doesn't really hate money. He has money and he understands money. We talk about money all the time, but at the same time, he talked about the dark side of money. If you don't understand money carefully and you don't sort of work to also raise your consciousness and spiritual awareness, money can ultimately destroy you, right? So in fact, there's nothing more harmful and more dangerous than to have an unhealthy, sick human being that has access to a lot of money. It's like giving a sledgehammer to a demon. That's what it is. Just go look at what happened with Diddy. They gave him lots of money and he wasn't healed. And as a result, a lot of people got hurt because of that. Money is power. Money is power. Money is power. So part of the reason that I think is very important for us to have these conversations about consciousness, spirituality, intentionality is because you're going to have power. You may not see it right now, but everybody in here, if you're taking in any of this, if you're applying even a fraction of what we're talking about, you're going to have power. My goal is to gift you with a superpower. I know I studied money intensely for many years straight at a high level. So when I give you the superpower, I don't want you to go out here and use it to hurt people. I want you to go out and understand how great you can be and how the money will just accelerate who you already are. Right? If you're a generous giving person, money's going to make you the biggest giver on the block. Right? If you are a person that loves to build things and develop things, you're going to have more free time to develop. You're going to develop amazing things because you won't be distracted. Right? If you are a person that loves art, you're going to have all the best art because you'll have money to buy. Money won't be a barrier because what happens for so many people is that money becomes an obstacle. Right? You go and you try to pursue your passion, and money's like, you can't do that today. You got to go to work. Or you say, I think I want to travel. I really need a vacation. And money's like, no, you're not. You better sit your ass down. You better go to Miami. Don't be talking about going to Europe. You can't go to Europe, right? Money will block you. Or you say, hey, I love this person. I want to marry this man. And then money's like, you better not. You better go marry the rich guy because love will not conquer all because both of y'all broke and you're gonna be broke together, right? So ultimately money can be an obstacle. So when you master money, it opens the door to so many great things. Now here's something I wanted to mention. So I was talking to D about it, and we were just talking about stuff, just everything, right? And I said, yeah. I said, I think we were talking about like working with people with integrity, right? People that follow through, right? Not just, I told you we got the looking ass Negroes and we got the talking ass Negroes. Just Negroes that just talk and don't actually follow through with nothing. And we were talking about you actually. And D said, he said, yeah, man, I really enjoy coming in and talking to everybody in Money in the Morning because it seems like everybody's just so into what they're doing, like they're really committed and serious. I said, yeah, because I don't run with average black people. These are not ordinary people. These are people that actually understand what it means to take action. That talk is cheap. Talk does not get you anything. And also, they understand what, at least most of us, I assume, understand that one of the challenges that we've had as a community is that we will give a lot of credit to those who have a good mouthpiece, but there's no follow through. We've talked about that, right? Because the pimp culture, the people that run Hollywood promoted the pimp culture in the black community. And what do pimps do? Pimps, they talk fast. They make their words rhyme, and then women are like, God, love you, right? And he ain't planning to keep none of them promises to you because all he's doing is talking. Instead of spending his energy building substance, he spent all his energy building flash. That's what he did. He got the fancy clothes and the big pimp hat, and he knows how to walk a certain way, and he knows how to talk a certain way. So when you hear him talking, you hear him rhyming with the slime on time, and you find then you really think that means something. It don't mean shit. It means nothing, right? And that flipped into hip hop. Hip hop does the same thing. Unfortunately, not all hip hop. D1 has hip hop and hypocritical hop. I said hypocritical hop. That's what it does. It's just talking, right? So anyway, I said, yeah, but I said I think the people that I talk to every day, they know the difference between talk and action. And so we were just kind of talking, and I became like kind of an old timer. I was like, "Do you remember back in 2013? I did something with Russell Simmons and blah blah blah. And, we got Obama to change his incarceration policy, right?" So I'm telling him the old man story, and I said, "Did I ever tell you about that?" And he said, "No, you never told me." And I said, "You know what? I don't talk about that enough. Maybe I should tell people like some of the great things that we have done in terms of things that actually led to real action. How many of y'all knew this?" But literally back in 2013, I worked with Russell Simmons, who, again, I don't know about, he's had controversies and stuff. I don't know nothing about all that. I wasn't there back then with Curtis Blow and all that. I just know Russell from what my interaction was with him. And what I found with Russell that I was really impressed with is that he has like a type of zen about him. He's able to work with different people. He's very patient. He listens. He's able to he follow and he keeps his word. That's really important because unfortunately, again, a lot of people talk and you're like, yeah, 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 well, but he actually would say do something and he did it, and I was really impressed by that. Well, one of the things that we agreed on was the incarceration of Black people. That we felt that the Obama administration needed to go ahead and keep a commitment that they made to the Black community, which was to deal with things like the war on drugs and deal with things like the crack to powder disparity. If you remember, the crack to powder disparity destroyed the Black community, destroyed trillions of dollars in Black wealth because they were giving people, 30 years for crack possession. And then white people with cocaine, they give them a couple of years and they be able to get on with their lives. And what that did was that destroyed families, which undermines the institutional infrastructure of a community. See, what I want you to understand is the war on drugs was a plague on Black people. Do you get what I'm saying? It was a plague. It was, and I use the word plague intentionally because let me tell you, Europe had a plague. Remember the Black Plague? The Black Plague killed a third of Europe. And so when you take away a third of the population, like they did in like the plague did in Europe, you're talking about the destruction of almost every institution imaginable. Because institutions require nexuses and networks of people, and if a third of those people are dead, that just creates all kinds of chaos. So as a result, Europe descended into darkness because of this plague. You didn't have, the government buildings and the institutions and the universities and all that the way you did before because everybody was dying. Everything was just sort of falling apart. So as a result, that's part of what made Europe just honestly the assholes of the earth. That's what made them such savages. Like they became thugs. They really became young thugs. They became and they became old thugs where they were just sitting around killing each other like damn near like animals, building weapons and building better weapons. Like how can I develop a new weapon that's going to kill more people than the last one? And so while the Africans are living in this abundance lifestyle where they're thinking about love and life and connection, the Europeans are sitting around figuring out how do I kill as many of my enemies as I possibly can. That weapon will kill 500 people, but I need one that'll kill 1,000, right? So that's almost like demonic energy, right? Very bad energy, and it affected them for hundreds of years. So for Black people, in my opinion, I would argue that the war on drugs was like a plague for the Black community. You had so many people in the community that would have become pillars, fathers and husbands and leaders and thinkers, and they all got shipped away to prison, these concentration camps. And as a result, you had complete chaos. You had families that fell into, just fell to pieces. You had institutions that never came to exist, businesses that would have occurred that never happened. In fact, again, a lot of the people that we might refer to as the street dudes, many of them would have grown into geniuses that would have built $1 billion companies if they'd been given an opportunity to do that. But because they made a mistake at 18 or 19 years old, you had them in prison for 25 years. So now you got some of the wisest. You ever go to prison? If you ever go visit a prison, you'll find some really super wise, really focused men, and women as well. When women were hit hard too, you will find some of the most focused, intelligent people you can imagine in prison because they sit around and they're when they use the time in an appropriate way, they're thinking all day. They're figuring things out. Their awareness is at a really heightened level, more so than people that are just running around being distracted by everything. So my point is to say that this has really cost the Black community trillions of dollars. Like this is something that did a tremendous job when it comes to tremendously bad job when it comes to destroying Black wealth and destroying communities and families in a way that's going to just last, probably permeate for 100 years or more. And so with Russell, what we did was Russell's idea, it was mostly his idea and partly mine, is he asked me to write a letter to President Obama. And I'm sure the letter's out there somewhere. And I wrote this letter, and he said, after you write the letter, if you can get scholars and activists to sign this letter, I will go get all the celebrities to sign the letter. And when Russell says all the celebrities, he seems to know all the celebrities. I don't really hang out with celebrities, but he did, and he kind of knew everybody. And I said, okay, great. So I wrote the letter. First version I wrote um, was a little too Boyce Watkins, right? It was like I wrote it, and they were like, okay, it's a little bit harsh because I was mad. I was like, you need to like I was really running up there and like Like I was like running with a shotgun, like, okay, get on your knees, give me your money, right? And Russell, he came in and he kind of gave some, pretty wise advice. He said maybe he said we have to be a little more diplomatic, and I said okay, all right. I was like, okay, boys, just calm down, just let's be nice. And so I wrote a nicer letter, and so we got that done, and we got a lot of people to sign it. And in fact, I actually found the list of the names. I'd forgotten about it. I just don't talk about it much. But in terms of the list of names, I don't even know how we did all this work. But I'll read some of the names of people that signed the letter. So we had people, the entertainers. Let's see here. I'm just looking at the names. Lala Anthony, Roseanne Barr, Russell Brand, Jim Carrey, Cedric the Entertainer, Affion Crockett, Rosario Dawson, Mike Epps, Omar Epps, Jamie Foxx, Tyrese Gibson, Hill Harper, John Hamm. I don't know John Hamm. I saw him in Mad Men, but I don't know him. Let's see, Ron Howard, um, Terrence J, Chris Jenner, Scarlett Johansson, Kim Kardashian, Kourtney Kardashian, Sanaa Lathan, LL Cool J, Nia Long, Eva Longoria, Michael Moore, Jay Farrow, Tim Robbins, Chris Rock, Susan Sarandon, Sarah Silverman, Russell Simmons, of course, Vanessa Simmons, Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, Tika Sumpter. I know that name. Gabrielle Union, Kerry Washington, Marlon Wayans, Jeffrey Wright, by the way, who is probably the best actor in Hollywood. If you know Jeffrey Wright, this is a bad boy. Let's see. In the faith community, Bishop James Clark, Bishop Noel Jones, and a few other bishops. I don't know a lot of bishops. Jamal Bryant's name's on here, but I didn't get Jamal's signature. Let's see. Civil rights advocates Julian Bond, Dr. Benjamin Chavis, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Benjamin Todd Jellis. Let's see. Mark Morial, Reverend Al Sharpton. Who else? Let's see. Okay, and then let me see what else we got in here. Oh, music industry: David Banner, Eric Benet, Andre 3000, Big Boy from Outkast, Charlemagne the God, Sean Diddy Combs, Chuck D, DJ Envy, Jermaine Dupri, Missy Elliott, Ghostface Killer, Genuine, Carrie Hilson, Jennifer Hudson, Ice T, Trinidad James, um, Jim Jones, Talib Kweli, John Legend, Ryan Leslie, Ludacris, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Q-Tip, Busta Rhymes, some let's see, Rick Ross, RZA, Tiana Taylor, who else? Business leaders: Sir Richard Branson, Ron Busby, the head of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Damon John from Shark Tank. Let's see here. I'm looking at some of the names here. Athletes. Let's see. Let's see who the athletes were. Allen Houston, assistant GM from the New York Knicks. Lamar Odom, Eton Thomas, Isaiah Thomas, Mike Tyson. Media: Chris Broussard, T.J. Holmes. He was on Good Morning America. Tyson Beckford. I see his name here. Kimora Lee Simmons. And then a bunch of other people: Michael Eric Dyson and Eddie Glaude and Dr. Mark Lamont Hill and Julianne Malveaux and a lot of other people, right? So I'm looking at this list, right? And I didn't even think about it. I just thought I'd bring it up today. And here's what, just because it's an interesting story. So here's what happened, right? As we were doing this project, and more people were signing this letter. And I remember specifically asking him about Will and Jada, and not Will and Jada, I'm sorry, Jay-Z and Beyonce. And he said, man, I can't get Jay-Z to sign anything. And so anyway, as this was happening, the pressure was kind of mounting. The pressure was really mounting from the Obama administration. They were kind of like, okay, we don't really like the idea of black people taking action. Black people taking action is not something that we're accustomed to. They didn't say this, but that was my interpretation. It's like back off, right? And so they didn't really say much to me because they actually tried to calm me down by going through Al Sharpton. And Al Sharpton came and tried to put the hammer down and shut me down because he knew me. And I was like, you know me, but you don't know me. Like, please stop. Like, this not, I don't bully. You can't bully me very easily. So just quit. Right. So then they give up, right? Because I kind of became marginalized at that point. And it's fine. I want to be marginalized. But they did try with Russell. And let me tell you how they tried with Russell. This is just me giving an honest reflection from my perspective. The problem with the black celebrity is that they have, in many cases, been positioned as a barrier for progress in the black community. Many of the celebrities had no particular agenda when it came to the politicians. They just wanted to be in the pictures with Obama and come to the Christmas parties. That was pretty much it. Ice Cube was an exception. That's why I thought what Ice Cube did was so phenomenal. When he did his contract with Black America and he consulted with all these scholars and put together this extraordinarily good document, you can look it up. I encourage you to go read it. It's really good. I was really impressed by that because most of the celebrities, unfortunately, are gatekeepers. Thank you, Shirley. That's a great term. They're gatekeepers. And I remember watching and just observing Russell's behavior to try to see, like, okay, how are you going to respond to that? Because you got a lot more to lose than I do. You're Russell Simmons, I'm not. I didn't create Curtis Blow and Run DMC and all these other great things you've done. I'm a scholar from Syracuse University who's just doing his best to try to make the world a better place before I die. And so I remember watching, and this man never buckled. He never folded. And what kept him from buckling and folding, in my view, was the fact that he, like many of you in this room, had like close friends who got very long prison sentences that they did not deserve. He knew people who got hit by those RICO charges. If you know anything about the law, how many of y'all know about how crazy, devastating those RICO charges were? They would destroy the life of a black man and a black woman like it wasn't nothing. Like you were dirt. Like you didn't deserve to live. You know, you should be in prison getting raped every other day for the next 40 years because you made a mistake at the age of 18 or 19 years old. And that is not just horrible, but it's traumatic, not just for the person experiencing that, it's the person, it's also traumatic for people observing this. The 90s was very traumatic, very scary. And I wrote about that. I wrote a book years ago called What If George Bush Were a Black Man? And in the book, I just reflected on how it felt to be a black man in the 90s, knowing that they were actively exterminating you. They were exterminated, and only a few people understand that. Ezekiel Elliott's father, Saladin Muhammad, Stacey Elliott, that's his other alias, who came to the convention. He said it really well, and I was really happy. He talked about, we're the same age. He said we survived. A lot of our friends did not. I said, I know. I have friends that were killed and got sent to prison. They're just now coming home from prison. It was terrible. And what I really think is important is I don't know why in the world we are scared to really have conversations about this. Like, I don't know why in the world we won't push this in people's faces and say, look, this was our Holocaust. This is what you did to us. Right? Why everybody's like, oh, well, just put it behind you. It don't matter. It's not a big deal. To hell it's not. To hell it's not. Right? This was a big chunk of the backwardization of black communities and black economics. This was a $10 trillion heist. They stole your human capital. They stole human beings out of the black community and put them into slave labor. Does anybody know how much money is made from prison slave labor? How many of y'all have ever seen this? How much? How many have you ever really sat down and thought about it in terms of the slave labor from prison? Um anybody seen that? Yeah, let's talk about the economic side of this. All right, so when you talk about prison labor, and you look at stats, it's mind-boggling. I'm Googling some stuff now because I want you to understand how this wasn't just political. It wasn't just, even though it was political, it wasn't just social, even though it was social. It wasn't just psychological, even though it was psychological. It was also economic. We're trying to make money, and we're trying to make money with prisons. So, in order for us to make money with prisons, we have to incarcerate people. We're not going to incarcerate white people because we're white. So we're going to incarcerate black people, and the people we'll incarcerate will be the ones who are least desired in this society, the ones who are the most feared, which is the black man. And not only are we going to incarcerate them so we can make money from our prisons, but we're also going to hijack the hip hop music industry, which is the number one influencer of the black male, so that these black men will encourage each other to go into prison like a roach motel. And next thing you know, we will also be able to make money from their labor and from their time. So when you're doing time, you're donating wealth to other people. So here's some stats just so you can kind of know. The overall value of inmate work is about 9 billion a year in services and 2 billion a year in goods. A government-owned Unicor, which is a government-owned enterprise, reported 531 million in revenue and 61 million in net income. Work release programs in Alabama alone generate 450 million a year. Arkansas prison farms produce more than 4.4 million in agricultural goods for external sale in 2019, plus another 7.5 million internally for prison food services. So you got about 11 billion total in terms of money that gets made every year from prisons. And I honestly think that's an underestimate. And if you were to look at, like popular products that are made from prison labor, I'm sure the list would astonish you. So let me look it up. And this is a theft from the black community. This is not, I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean white people don't go to prison, but all the statistics show that black men are the ones that are most likely to go to prison, even when they commit the same crimes as white people. So let me see here. Okay, so just in terms of products, overall products, in terms of not brands, but just products. Let's see. In a lot of states, they make license plates with incarcerated workers make license plates, books in braille, apparel like jeans, t-shirts, caps, military uniforms, lingerie, furniture, office supplies like tables and desks, electrical components, agricultural goods, meat and poultry products. And so, if you were to give brands made by prison labor or supported by prison labor, right? Let me see here. Let me see what I can find. Um, Let me see, because I think this is the kind of thing that we have to sort of talk about. Like, because when you're talking about black wealth and you're saying, well, where did the black wealth go? Why don't black people have any money? Then maybe you can go and talk to companies like McDonald's, Walmart, Tyson Foods, Target, Kroger, Whole Foods, Aldi. Wow, they've got products from prison labor in their stores. Coca-Cola, Ballpark hot dogs, Frosted Flakes, Gold Medal flour, Burger King, Best Western, Budweiser. Holy crap, this is insane. Home Depot, Wayfair, Verizon, Sprint, JCPenney, Kmart. Kmart actually uses inmate labor to manufacture denim products in Tennessee prisons. IBM, Victoria's Secret, Microsoft, Nintendo. And what's interesting is that a lot of these companies that will gladly pay an inmate, $1 a day to make their products won't go hire a black person for a real job. They'll tell you they don't have any jobs and then go and hire your cousin who got 20 years in prison, or they'll tell you that we don't have a DEI program anymore, so we're getting rid of the Negroes, but then they'll go and hire, or not even hire, they'll go and literally enslave prison inmates and extract labor against their will. So there you go. That's my story. Have a nice day. All right, so so anyway, I hope I didn't make you sad or anything like that. But remember, Kendall Green has it right. There's a book by Michelle Alexander, and I knew Michelle a long time ago, a very nice lady, called The New Jim Crow. And so these are the things, when you talk about black wealth, I think having a holistic conversation would be really important. So we can understand not just the fact that we don't have the wealth we deserve, but a lot of the wealth that is generated by us ends up going into the hands of other people. So having economic consciousness is critical because what consciousness does is it leads you to be able to look at the process and re-examine it and redirect it in a way that it works, almost like flowing a river. Like you have consciousness, you get in an airplane, you elevate. Consciousness is elevation, right? So I elevate, I get in a drone or an airplane and I look at the shape of the river and I say, oh, I see why we have a drought over here. We got a drought over here because all the water is going over there. Do you understand? Right? The drought season's over here. Shout out to E40 because because they're doing really well. They're making it rain over here because they're taking the water. So then because you didn't have the awareness, you can then do the hard work required, and everything requires work, not just talking, not just being mad about it, not just us pontificating about it. Even academics do this. They call this what they call it, intellectual masturbation or some mental masturbation, right? Where literally scholars will sit around and debate something all day, like they did that during Katrina. They would sit around and debate whose fault it was that Katrina got flooded, when really the thing to do at that moment is to go get help for those people. So the same thing is true here. Talk about it, think about it, analyze it, learn it, understand it, and then act upon it. And that's an individual thing as well, right? How do I make sure that everything that's valuable in my life, that as much of the value I produce for the world circles back to me, my family, and my community. How do I make sure that the river is properly routed so that when I produce all this water and all this labor and I'm given all this time, all this attention, that is routing back to the people that I care about, people that reflect my interests? And if you think about things that way, then you're going to end up questioning a lot of the things that we're told are absolutely normal. And my goal is, in fact, my goal long term is to make you a really abnormal person in a certain way. I want you to be abnormally in tune with how these things work. I want you to be abnormal in the sense that you don't follow the crowd. I want you to have the courage to say, no, that's not what I'm doing because that doesn't work. And I know exactly why it doesn't work. And it's not because just because Dr. Boyce said it, it's because I truly understand it. Do you understand? I don't want you to just hear me. I need you to understand me. And I want you to consider what I'm saying so that when you form an opinion, it ain't my opinion. I want it to be your opinion because you thought about it and you internally came to the conclusion that this was a bunch of bullshit. Okay, do you understand? Is that okay? I hope that that makes sense in the way I said it, right? Because if you don't believe it, then you shouldn't repeat it. You shouldn't repeat it just because I said it. I need you to understand it. I want your kids to understand it, and then I want you to implement a plan that makes it work for you, for your family, and then I guarantee you that if you do that and you do it consistently, then you will have wealth. You will have power, you will have freedom, you will succeed. At that point, you're just gonna have a bunch of haters like me. But it's all right. I'm glad they hating because that means I'm doing something right. All right. So anyway, God bless you guys. Hope you have a great day. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, so the D1 tour is d1music.com. Yeah, I know I'm gonna go to New York and Dallas. I may pick a city in the middle. Somebody mentioned Boston. I actually like Boston a lot. I got a dream job in Boston when I was 20 years old, and it was a complete nightmare. But I love the city though. So anyway, have a good day, everybody, and don't forget tomorrow we're going to do stock options income. So if you want to learn how to generate income from stock options, just go to drboyceprime.com. The URL is above my head. Also, Chanel put the link in there for the coin cohort that starts this Thursday. So if you want to join, just click on that link that Chanel shared, and you can feel free to join that way as well. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.